Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's regular meeting of the Woburn City Council. Before we get started, I'd remind everybody that our meetings are recorded and broadcast. With that in mind, if you could please silence your cell phones so as not to be a distraction. And if you would please join me in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Counsel Campbell.
Present.
Counsel Demers.
Present.
Counsel Dillon.
Present.
Counsel DeMambro.
Present.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Present.
Counsel Gately.
Present.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Here.
Counsel Viola.
Present.
President Concanon.
Present.
Make a motion to dispense with the reading of the previous meeting's journal and approve.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
First item on the agenda is an order and communication regarding authorizing the mayor to file applications and execute agreements related to Hon Pond Water Treatment Plant PFAS removal.
Make a motion that the communication be received and made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion that the order be adopted.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is an order and communication regarding acceptance of the Brave Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clauses 22G and 22H.
Make a motion that the communication be received and made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second on the communication. All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion that the order be adopted.
Second.
Motion second on adoption. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is the order amending Woburn Municipal Code by adding Section 2-147A, Community Gardens Coordinator.
Make a motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance.
Second.
Motion second to refer this to Committee on Ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is an order amending Woburn Municipal Code Section 2-180, base salaries to include Community Gardens Coordinator.
Make a motion that that order be sent to the matter on, to the Committee on Ordinance.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is the order amending Woburn Municipal Code Sections 2-193A, 2-193A-22, 2-194A, and 2-194I regarding creating the position of Facilities Manager.
Make a motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is the order amending Woburn Municipal Code Section 2-180 base salaries to include Facilities Manager.
Make a motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is an order amending Woburn Municipal Code Title II by adding Article 16, Substance Misuse Prevention and Community Support Coordinator.
Make a motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is an order amending Woburn Municipal Code Section 2-180 base salaries to include Substance Misuse Prevention and Community Support Coordinator.
Make a motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Your motion?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we suspend the rules to take the next matter from communications and reports out of order.
Second.
And that order, that is a request for executive session by City Solicitor regarding Lawless Inc. versus Woburn City Council.
So there's a motion and a second that we go into executive session under,
No, not yet. There's a motion on the floor to take that next matter out of order.
motion second, take it out of order. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. So on that,
Make a motion to enter executive session.
Second.
on this motion with a second to go into executive session under General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, would be to discuss strategy relative to pending litigation in the matter of Lawless Inc. versus Woburn City Council. And I'm declaring that if an open meeting was held on the matter, it may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the City Council. This vote will be by roll call.
To go into executive session by roll call, Counsel Campbell.
Aye.
Counsel Demers.
Aye.
Counsel Dillon.
Aye.
Counsel DeMambro.
Aye.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Aye.
Counsel Gately.
Aye.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Aye.
Counsel Viola.
Aye.
President Concanon.
Aye, that passes. We'll be going into an executive session, and we will reconvene in open session following our discussion. We're going to adjourn to the committee room. So as we noted, we adjourned to the committee room for an executive session on the matter of Wallace Inc. versus Woburn City Council. We have returned now to the chamber. I will say that there was, at 7:10 PM, we're here now in the chamber, and there was a vote taken while in executive session regarding this matter, and the vote was to set that underlying petition, Lawless, up for a public hearing on September 19th, and that matter will be heard at that time. I'd like to entertain a motion to return to the regular order.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
You don't need a roll call now that we're back in regular session.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Mr.
Can you just
President,
give me 1 second, please?
Yep.
1 second for the clerk.
Thank you. Okay.
All set?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider my vote on the first agenda item this evening that would authorize the mayor to enter applications and execute agreements for grant or loan for the Horn Pond Water Treatment Plant PFAS removal.
Second.
Reconsidering the order adoption?
Yes.
There's a motion and a second that Councilor Demers be allowed to reconsider his vote on the order to adopt regarding the PFAS item. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything further on that?
Mr. President, I'd just like to explain to the public at large why we did that.
Councilor Demers.
It's a financial matter, so it needs a second reading, so we need to push that off one more meeting. So it's not any sign of non-support for the financial matters for the PFAS removal. It's just a procedural matter that we have to do to cover ourselves legally. Thank you, Mr. President.
Do we need a motion to lay it on the table, Madam Clerk?
Make a motion to lay the matter on the table?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Step.
Do I have a motion to return to the regular order again?
Is there a
Motion
motion?
to return to the regular order of business.
Second.
Motion second that we return to the regular order. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is under new petitions is Woburn Friends of Hospice VNA Care for a special event permit to allow a road race and health walk at Horn Pond and area streets on October 1st, 2023.
Make a motion to grant a special event permit.
Second?
Second.
Motion second that this special event permit be approved. All in favor? Aye.
I'll make a motion on the, on B, Woburn Venture property owner, sent off for a public hearing.
Second.
There's a motion second that the matter from LCS Woburn Venture Property regarding the inflammable license be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Same motion on the JD Realty Trust petition.
Second?
There's a motion second that this matter also be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same motion on the Sun Tree Estates LLC.
Second?
Motion second on the petition by Sun Tree Estates LLC, and this would be at 205 and 213 Cambridge Road, that it be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same motion on Garage 42 Degree LLC.
Second?
Same motion on them.
Motion second that this matter also be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same motion on the, what we got here? No, I cannot vote in the next one.
No, you can. It's a new public hearing. It's only
It's a new
set
one.
up a public hearing, too.
I'll make a motion that the next matter be set up for a public hearing.
Second.
Next matter is the petition by CCF New Boston Property regarding 225 Merrimack and 216 New Boston, that it be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same motion on the other one.
Same motion?
Second.
Motion second, the companion matter also be referred to public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
On the Connection Therapy and Wellness, same motion, public hearing.
Second.
Motion second that the petition by Connect Therapy and Wellness be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Same motion on the Treetop Home LLC.
Second.
Same motion that the petition by Treetop Home LLC, this is regarding a four-family at 5 Bennett Street, that it be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same motion on Aaron Equipment and Supply LLC.
Second.
This is a petition by Aaron Equipment and Supply, Draper Street, to allow overnight parking at 271 Salem Street, that it be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same motion for the JFSO Realty of Massachusetts public hearing
Second.
for Wynn Street.
Motion second that the petition by JFSO Realty regarding 76 to 84 Wynn Street, that it be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion for the PDC, Renault.
Second.
PDC
for
Renault
399
LV
Washington Street.
PHX LPIV LLC at 76 to 84 Wynn Street.
Right. This is the petition at 76 to 84 Wynn Street, that it be referred to a public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's it, I think the next one here.
Excuse me, that was supposed to be 399, that's 399 Washington Street. I
Oh,
misspoke,
okay,
sorry.
there's a typo in that one. So this is
It's right on the agenda.
PDC Renault, and it is at 399 Washington Street. Just for
It's
clarification.
public hearing, right?
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is actually LCS Woburn LLC request for minor modification to previously issued special permit to move sign located at the corner of the east elevation to the corner of the north elevation on the Delaney at Hill Street. Two communications dated August 9, 2023 was received from attorney Joseph R. Tarby. The petition for the client regarding request for minor modification to landowner's decision of notice, special permit, LCS Woburn, Hill Street.
Make a motion that the communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second on the communications. All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to suspend the rules to allow the petitioner or his representative to speak.
Second.
Motion second to suspend the rules. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Tarby.
Good evening. For the record, Joseph Tavi, an attorney with the law firm of Woburn and Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn, here on behalf of LCS Woburn LLC. Back when the original special permit was approved, there was a signage package approved as well. And what we're requesting is that now that the building is up, they'd like to take the same sign that was on the east elevation, which faces directly I-93, and move it to the north elevation, which is, as you're looking up from Montfield, the front of the building on the left side of the building. Same sign, same size, but just moving it from, if you just picture the corner right here to the front right here. That's the request. I did speak with, Tom Quinn to see if he could make the decision under condition 1. He said, although we felt it was a minor modification, the fact that it was going from one wall to the other wall, he'd rather have the council act on it.
Okay. Comments, questions? Councilor Sabron?
I'm sorry, Attorney Tarby, without some sort of visual, it's hard for me to
We did
make-
file the plans with the
Okay.
request.
So it's going to face more of Montvale Ave than the highway? I don't really understand.
Oh, it's the same, well, this is,
And I did get that, but, I mean, gosh, it's so small. It's hard to visualize.
Well, it's the same sign that would be facing the highway, but now everything's built and the topography is there. They want to take that sign and move it to the front of the building.
So there's no potential impacts to the businesses that are on Montvale Ave from that sign?
No, it's just it's gonna help.
There's no, there's no residents on that
No.
side, so, but I want to be mindful of the businesses over there as well, so.
It just helps people find the building easier with the sign, right?
Oh, I understand the
the front,
purpose. I understand the purpose. I just want to make sure that the visual impacts
Yeah.
aren't negligent, that's all.
Impact.
I'd like to hear from my other fellow city councilors who are familiar with this particular building. I know some of you are very familiar with it because you were here when we discussed all of it, but it seems okay to me. But again, without having something bigger to, I don't want to hold it up, but it is, we are changing a sign. It's a big sign, so.
It was the same sign that was approved when the original special permit was granted. We're not looking.
Right, but now you're asking to move it, so.
Right, so just
Okay.
like I said, on the corner of a building, so facing this way, they want to just move it over here, like that.
Are there any other comments or questions from anyone on the council? Councilor Gately?
I don't think there's much of an impact taking off one building and putting it on another. The massive construction that's going on down there, and it's gonna be done after it's done. It'll be a needle in a haystack. No, it is what it is. Thank you.
Councilor Dillon?
I feel comfortable based on Commissioner Quinn's that it's a minor modification and that he just wanted it to go through us, maybe for procedure. So I do feel comfortable based on his basically saying it's okay.
All right, through the
Councilor
chair,
Brewer.
I'm not sure that when Inspector Quinn sends these things to us as a, to decide if it's a minor modification, it's not because he thinks it's okay. It's generally because he thinks it's something that he can't make a decision on because it's not minor, and leaves it to us. I haven't had a chance to talk to him for him to say if it's okay or not, but it sounds like from what Councilor Gately said, that it's, and you're very familiar with this area as well, I know, Councilor Dillon, so.
I believe Attorney Tarby stated Commissioner Quinn felt it was a minor modification. He stated that, did he not?
Correct, yeah, and I never quote a city official unless I heard it directly from the city official.
So that was my point. He didn't send it to us stating that he wants to find out if we feel it's a minor modification. No, we did.
Yeah.
He stated he felt it was and just wanted it to come through to us, if that helps.
Respectfully, he would always defer to the council, because that's our role when it comes to
Correct.
modifications.
I understand that.
I don't take issue with it, Attorney Tarby, if there's not going to be any adverse effects on the businesses that are over there. I know that there's not going to be adverse effects on the residents. But again, when it comes to signage, I would just say, always, we should be cautious, always. Because once it's there, it's really hard to undo, so. I'll support it tonight based on the feedback from the rest of my fellow councilors.
Councilor Ferrullo, all set? Yep. Councilor DeMambro?
Just to clarify, Joe, they're not going to refurbish that sign in any way, shape, or form, or take down the same sign, have it
Oh, no, no, no.
refinished and put back up. They're not going to change it. They're not going to put same dimensions, new sign. It's going to be unbolted, moved over to the other side, and bolted back on.
It's not even up yet, there's a sign permit application on Mr. Quinn's desk pending, this meeting.
Okay. I'm in support of it.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Anything else, Mr. Tarby?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Make a motion that the minor modification be granted?
Second?
Motion second, this minor modification be granted. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
Next item on the
Need to
agenda,
return to the regular order?
yeah, that would be
Back
helpful.
to regular
Make a
order.
motion to return to the regular order of business?
Second.
Motion second to return to the regular order. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda under public hearings is NSTAR Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, for grant of right and a way to install approximately 341 feet of conduit from pole 282-10 located on Beach Street to private property. A communication dated August 14, 2023 was received from Jackie Duffy, the right-of-way agent.
Make a motion that the communication be received, made part of the permanent record?
Second.
Motion second on the communication. All in favor?
Aye.
She's not,
Let's see, make a motion to open the public
I don't
hearing.
think she is, right?
Second.
The petitioner is not here. Just for clarification, I did have an email correspondence with her today. She asked whether her presence was required. Obviously, I told her to use her discretion, it was up to her.
Motion to take all five collectively.
But I told her that the council has a growing frustration about the continuances of this matter, and that, we're hoping to see some movement soon. But I think she took my comments that she did not need to be here tonight. Anyway, what was that, Councilor Gately?
Take all five collectively,
Two.
send them off,
You can't-
Well, we've already taken this first one. My point was simply explaining why Ms. Duffy was not here tonight.
Take four, next four.
So Counsel Demers.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak to this petition from NSTAR Electric, DBA Eversource regarding Anthony Drive?
Make a motion to continue the public hearing until September 19th.
Second.
Motion second that this public hearing be continued to our regular meeting on September 19th. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is an NSTAR petition for Forest Park Road to end of Thomas Street. A communication dated August 14, 2023 was received from Jackie Duffy, the right-of-way agent.
Make a motion that the communication be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak to this matter?
Make a motion to continue the public hearing until the regular meeting of the city council on September 19th.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is another petition by NSTAR Company, DBA Eversource, for grant of right-of-way on Main Street to one new manhole, MH31872 in Campbell Street. A communication dated August 14, 2023 was received from Jackie Duffy, the right-of-way agent.
Make a motion that the communication be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second on the communication. All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to open the public hearing. All in favor? Aye. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak to this petition? Again, this is Campbell Street.
Make a motion to continue the public hearing to the regular meeting of the city council on September 19th.
Second.
Motion and second to continue it till September 19th. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by NSTAR Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, for grant of right-of-way to install conduit from manhole in Main Street to one new manhole in Franklin Street. A communication dated August 14th, 2023 was received from Jackie Duffy, the right-of-way agent.
Make a motion that all communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and second on the communication. All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak to the petition by NSTAR on Franklin Street?
Make a motion to continue the public hearing to this regular meeting of city council on September 19th.
Second.
Second.
Motion second to continue this matter until our regular meeting on September 19th. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by NSTAR Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, for grant of right-of-way to install one new hip guy on existing pole in Mishwan Road. A communication dated August 15th, 2023 was received from Jackie Duffy, the right-of-way agent.
Make a motion that all communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second. Second.
Motion second on the communications. All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak to this petition? NSTAR Electric on Mishawam Road.
Make a motion to continue the public hearing until the regular meeting of the city council on September 19th.
Second.
Motion second to continue this to the regular meeting on September 19th. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is petition by Craft Detailing, Inc. for a special permit to allow for the following: automobile and truck repair garage under section 5.1 subsection 44, and 2 groundwater protection district under section 15.6 at 38 High Street, Unit 5. A communication dated July 20th, 2023 was received from Greg Ream, Assistant City Engineer, as well as a communication dated July 31st, 2023 was received from Tina Cassidy, the Planning Director, and a communication dated August 11th, 2023 was received from James A. Giuliani, the attorney for the petitioner, regarding 38 High Street, Unit 5, Woburn, Mass.
Make a motion that all communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second on the communications. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the record, Attorney James Giuliano on behalf of Craft Detailing, Inc. With me here tonight is Kevin Song, who is the president of the corporation. We're here tonight for a special permit for the operation of an automobile detail shop, which is obviously located at 38 High Street, Unit 5, under Sections 5.1.44 and Section 15.6 of the Woburn zoning ordinance. Just a little bit of backstory of the property. It was actually built in 2004. There was an old building that was a little smaller than what was there. It was rehabbed and actually put up in 2004 by Les Herzog, who remains the current owner. It was under a special permit granted by City Council in 2002. Located in the downtown business district and the groundwater protection district. It houses 5 bays with associated office space. So right now, you'll see a construction company there. There's actually a car collector that is in one of the bays, and my client's proposing to use another bay for the auto detailing. It's approximately 8,000 square feet. It has associated parking, all is seen on the plan. And again, the proposed use and primary function of the space that we're asking for is basically an automobile detailing shop. So that entails obviously the washing, waxing, paint protection that a typical automobile detailing shop would do, vacuuming, etc. It all will align with the stipulations from the 2002 special permit, so we're not asking or requesting we go outside of those parameters. We're going to be catering to about an average of 1 to 2 cars. So if you've seen the bays, they're pretty large. They're about 1,600 square feet. At most, we'll have about 3 cars at one time. Those cars will all be placed in the bays, and they'll be taken by the respective car owners that same day. So there really won't be any overnight storage, especially on the outside. The initial plan is to hire 1 associate and maybe have 1 or 2, so there's not going to be a lot of individuals going in and out as far as employees. The hours of operation are pretty good, I think. They're going to be 8:30 to 6 o'clock from Monday through Friday, so there will be no weekend operation at this location. The big thing, as I mentioned in my letter and I provided correspondence for, was the chemicals. I think obviously with being in the groundwater protection district, chemicals are a big thing. My client has and continues to use safe chemicals. I provided reports for every chemical that is going to be used by my client. They are all eco-safe. They're okay if they go into the groundwater. They're not going to harm any individuals, et cetera, which I think is very important. There are existing water separators, water oil separators on the site. I talked to the owner yesterday. He said they were cleaned out, I think about a year ago. It was bone dry. As I mentioned, there's a car collector there. There's no one really doing any sort of mechanic work at all in any of those 5 bays, which is nice. And again, we're not proposing to do any oil changes. It's just basically washing of cars and paint protection. So my client is here tonight, can certainly answer any questions. He's no stranger to the industry. He's been doing it for over 10 years. He also operates the same company in Dedham, Massachusetts. And then going back to my correspondence from yesterday, in addressing Ms. Cassidy's letter, the landscaping, which was a big thing, we did talk to the owner. The owner, as of today, cleaned up all the weeds. I don't know if anybody was by there. They cleaned the weeds up. They freshly bark mulched the parking area where there's probably maybe 2 strips of, we'll call it 1.5 to 2 feet. There's not much landscaping, but what is there has been cleaned up. The weeds have been taken care of. As far as signage goes, we're not proposing any signage. If you notice from the building, if you've been by the building, there is probably a glass door that will just put a decal on, all within, Section 13, probably no less than 25% of that window, which is allowed in the downtown business district. So that's all signage that we would need. We aren't requesting any additional signage that would require any additional special permits. So that being said, just another thing I wanted to mention too. I think addressing Ms. Cassidy's letter, I think it sounded like she was assuming this is a new building, which it's obviously not. The building has been in existence for 20 years. Everything's already there. Everything's the engineering's all done. It's been well established for the last 20 years. I saw a couple of comments that seemed to reference installation of water separators, almost like it was a new construction property. So again, it is not. It's been in existence for a while. So that being said, I'll certainly entertain any questions.
Questions from the council? Councilor Gately.
Hi,
Hi,
remember me?
I certainly do.
I remember you. Can we return my call one of these days?
I will, sir, yes.
This is a pretty good outfit. They clean, they repair, and do minor repairs, and they wash vehicles. They do have a gas fuel separator in one part of that building. The chemicals they use are non-abrasive. They work well with the drainage system and stuff. I think it'd be a good thing down there for them to be in there. I know they're gonna be a clean outfit. Out back of the building needs a little help.
Yep.
Maybe you guys wanna do a little help out there. Clean it up a little bit, cut the trees back there, you know, ones that are yours. So make it look halfway decent.
Yeah. So I know, like I said, he cleaned the beds up and things, but I will certainly mention to the owner tomorrow to sort of do some pruning and things like that. That's
Yeah,
a legitimate request for sure.
it was a pretty good, thing you gave us about the, different chemicals and what they do. It was very informative.
Thank you.
This isn't the only place in town, so we can look at that also for other places doing the same thing. I have no options, no regrets in this place here. I'd like to see it go in there. I'm a ward alderman, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Ain't gonna say another word to you.
Council Viola.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I think I drove past there. Looks like this would be a good fit for the area. I mean, it's low impact, as you said, only a few cars that'll be in there, short time. I appreciate the paperwork that we did get from your client with every chemical that's listed and if there's any issues with them, and I think it'd be a good choice for this area, and thank you again for that information.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anything else, Mr. Giuliano?
No, I have nothing further to add.
I'll make a motion to open a public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak to this petition from Craft Detailing, 38 High Street?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to grant a special permit.
Second.
With the condition that the chemicals and stuff they're using do go into an oil gas separator and they are not abrasive to any drain water, which it's already been proven to us what he already sent us. And the hours of operation will be
8:30 to 6, Monday through Friday. 8:30 to 6, Monday through Friday.
8:30 to 6, Monday through Friday. Anything on Saturday and the weekends?
No
Public
weekends.
hearing's closed, he's not supposed to interact with the
So
petitioner.
we've got a motion and a second that this special permit be granted with two conditions. One regarding the oil water separator, and the second is the hours of operation. Are there any other conditions?
Nope.
On that motion
You agree to those?
and that second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Ram Zero Cross Street LLC petition to amend Section 20 Woburn Loop Bikeway/Greenway Overlay District of the Woburn zoning ordinance by revising Section 5I and adding new Section 5J buffer requirements and new Section 7 associate criteria. There are no communications from the planning
No
board yet.
communications?
Nope.
Mr. Tarby?
Yes, for the record, Joseph Tabby, Woburn Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn, here on behalf of the applicant on this proposed petition to amend the zoning. I'd like to submit two documents that I'll be referencing during our presentation. One, for your convenience, is a copy of the Section 20 Woburn Loop Bikeway Greenway Overlay District, and the other is a aerial showing all of the properties that are located in this particular overlay district.
Make a motion that the papers be received and made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, with me this evening is John Paul Martinetti of Ram Zero Cross Street LLC, the applicant and property owner, and Carlton Quinn, project engineer from Allen and Major. In terms of where we are schedule-wise, the planning board has its public hearing scheduled for next Tuesday. So at the conclusion of this public hearing, we were requesting that it be further continued to September 19th and be sent off to the ordinance committee. The proposed amendments that we filed to section 20 do not seek to increase any density or decrease any setbacks. The amendments are being presented to address a 20-year-old overlay district that needs to be cleaned up. These amendments came about after we reviewed the proposed development with the building commissioner. And, you know, for example, section 5.7 buffer requirements includes the industrial office park or BI zoning district. It doesn't include any overlay districts. So you're going to see shortly when Carlton goes over the plan, there has to be language in the overlay district to indicate that when you have a residential development up against another residential development, the buffer zone doesn't apply. And that was one of the reasons we've filed this particular petition. Also have added the two new sections. One, section 5I shall be amended by adding the following sentence. Section 5.2.1.4 shall not be applicable provided other direct access is available to the lot. We'll go over each one of these shortly. In terms of buffer requirements, that the buffer requirements set forth in section 5.7 would not be applicable to the uses that are allowed in that overlay district, which are all, I'll just read them there, all residential related uses, those being congregate elderly dwellings, townhouse dwellings, new construction of two-family, detached, single-family properties. And then Mr. Quinn also suggested that if you're going to go forward with these amendments, you know, also add that all proposals shall be subject to section 12 site plan review as applicable, that they be subject to section 9 floodway and floodplain districts as applicable, that they also be subject to groundwater protection district as applicable, and then indicate that all proposals shall be subject to the applicable sections in section 11 that define the grant of special permits. So the property at Zero Cross Street has sort of been an infamous property over the years. The recent owner before the Martinetti family, a gentleman by the name of Al Fromani, operated an illegal junkyard on the property, which was maintained in derelict condition and was an eyesore to the area. It was so bad that his lender foreclosed on the property, which consists of 4.89 acres, in 2015, and the Martinetti family purchased the property at foreclosure and would like to develop it for residential townhouses, which is an allowed use under section 20, the overlay that we're going to proceed under if the zoning amendments are adopted. So this is to give you a little background on this ordinance. This district was adopted back in July of 2003, with support from late Mayor Bob Dever, who was involved in the promotion of the ordinance. And it was adopted by the city council at the time to encourage the redevelopment of the many underutilized and obsolete commercial properties that you see on the aerial that I provide you. This district runs from Green Street to the Winchester line, with the last property being 0 Cross Street, which is in Woburn, with the access out to Winchester. The purpose of the zoning amendment, as I indicated at the outset, is to address deficiencies in old ordinance and to allow my client to proceed forward with a townhouse development. Now, under the overlay district, the applicant could file a special permit for up to 59 townhouse units. However, they're gonna be proceeding forward, if the amendments are adopted, seeking approval of 37 townhouse units. As I indicated, one of the deficiencies, and we can get into this more in depth at the committee level, is the buffer zone requirements. They, only mention under 5.7, office park, business interstate, other business districts, but they don't specifically get into the overlay districts. And that's one of the reasons we filed that. Also, given the location of some of these properties in this district, especially the applicant, frontage is proposed to be obtained from other direct access available to this lot. So, if they were required to access their lot from the buildable street frontage, that would require that Medford Street be extended and built out, which is something they don't want to do when they have direct access to Cross Street on Winchester. So we've added that proposed amendment to allow the access out to Cross Street as an option. So what I'd like to do at this time is introduce Carlton Quinn, who will review conceptual plan. And we're only before you on a proposed zoning amendment, but when you present the zoning amendment, the question is always raised, what is the end result? What would you like to accomplish? So Carlton's going to take you through that plan right now. So,
good evening, Carlton Quinn with Allen & Major Associates. I have a screenshot here of the Woburn GIS map with the zoning underlined. The property to the right, with the red hatch on it, is the property in question. The blue behind it, that is the IG district with the Woburn Looped Bikeway Overlay District on top of it. To the right, you'll see the green, that's the residential district. And then it is also overlaid by the Groundwater Protection District Zone 2. So it's in a part of 4 different underlying districts and overlay districts. Here's a conceptual site plan showing Cross Street on the right. The blue line is the Winchester-Woburn town-city lines. And then the red is the property as outlined. And then the green line is the zoning district line that kind of runs through the property, dissecting the residential versus the IG and Woburn Bike Loop overlay districts. So the site, as Joe mentioned, is about 4.89 acres, which is equated to about 213,000 square feet of lot. In this exercise, I've shown a red blotch in the middle. That is the buildable portion of the lot if we were to provide the full 70 feet of buffer area on top of the 30-foot setback, and just giving basically a 100-foot setback from 3 of the property lines. It results in a buildable area of about 72,000 square feet. Effectively, 66% of the land on the lot will be in the buffer area and unbuildable. So only about a third of the lot is left after the buffers are put on this site plan. Underlaid, you'll see we provided a conceptual site plan that had adequate fire access to turn around. It's got one road in from Cross Street, comes into the right, loops around in a circle, and you come back out on Cross Street. It provides 37 units and 2 parking spots per unit for a total of 76 parking spots, with all other zoning dimensions being adhered to. These are some kind of visuals of the kind of product the developer would like to build in this area. These are not exactly, but they're just kind of visual thoughts of what he's thinking of providing as his townhouse style houses. All right, thank you.
Okay, and, before we take questions, I want to make it very clear, we're not looking to eliminate the buffer zone. It's that the language in this section only talks about the buffer between a residential and industrial zoning district. So with this overlay, we have both the industrial district and the Woburn Loop line being the same line. All right, and the idea with the buffer zone is to protect residential property from the development of commercial property. We're going to develop residential property. So I just want to be clear on that. And there's no one's looking for increased density. No one's looking to, reduce any setbacks. Everything that's required in Section 20 would be required here. Allows a maximum height of 35 feet, 2.5 stories. This sits down below. We're going to provide 2 parking spaces if we get to that point. But I just want to make it clear on the buffer zone.
Okay. Comments or questions from the council? Council Gately?
Sure, I think it's a pretty good plan. I'm looking at right here. We know it's been down there for many, many years, including the chop shop and everything else that was in there. A dump, people were using it for dump for years. And there's been some sewer problems down there and water problems. And since Mr. Martinetti family has taken it over to clean it and everything else, it's been virtually silence. Whereas before, you're getting 5 phone calls a week, somebody dumping something, somebody doing something. For the last months, year, haven't heard a word. So I'm for this development, as long as it doesn't affect the Woburn bike path, the loop. I think everything down here will be good. That's just my opinion now. I'm sure you guys all have your own opinion, but I think it's good for the neighborhood. I think it's good for the area. It's a dead piece of land, and this is a way to rejuvenate it. Okay?
Council Viola?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Councilor Tarby. I know I'm going to get ahead of myself with this question, but we are in a housing crisis in this state, and affordable housing is needed more than ever. What percentage of affordable housing will we possibly see?
Well, we would do whatever required under the zoning ordinance. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Council DeMambro?
Attorney Tarby, I like the project. It looks nice. I agree with my colleague, Councilor Gately. It dressed the neighborhood up. It would rejuvenate it. My only question is, with 2 parking spaces per unit, we currently have some new condos going up there in North Woburn. The problem we're having is when they have visitors or they have more than 2 cars, where will those cars be parking? Because on-street parking is always a problem, especially during a snow emergency. And that's one of the major concerns I have with these, condo complexes, is they provide enough for the owners of the condo at, 2 parking spaces per unit. Unfortunately, when they have guests or they have, children that get licenses or whatever, there is an increase to maybe 3 or 4 vehicles. So that would be a concern of mine. And if you have an answer, I'd like to hear it. Thank you.
Garage, yeah.
It's one garage and one driveway spot per
Okay,
unit.
yeah. Okay, we'll take that into consideration as we move forward.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions? Counselor Dillon?
Just one, the 4 acres that will be built on, what's there right now? Just cleaned up land that they went in and Martinetti family kind of cleaned it up
Yeah,
over?
let John Paul address that.
Good evening, John Paul Martinetti, Martinetti Real Estate. To answer your questions, about a 2,000 square foot industrial building. It's a former garage of sorts. So it's a block building, freestanding building, just sitting on the site.
The one-story building you see set back there
Yeah.
from the street? Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, Counselor Demers?
Thank you, Mr. President. So, Joe, I'm planning on keeping an open mind on this, and I'm hoping we can discuss it further in ordinance. What I'd like to see, and I know it's in the conceptual phase, but a little bit more than a technical schematic. Just, like an overhead, maybe in like a Google map view and an outline of where this would be, where the parking would be and so forth, the buffer zone. A little bit more, I mean, I could barely, on the screen, I could barely see it, but I think a little bit more just to give people a perception of where this would go. Just because, the buffer, obviously buffer zones, even if it's industrial, everybody who lives in residential loves a buffer zone. So I think we need a further understanding of where it is now, what the requirement is now, and where we can move it.
Yep.
That respects everybody in the neighborhood. But I look forward to discussing it in ordinance.
All right, great.
Counselor Mercer Bruin?
Just wanted to follow up on the comments of Councilor Demers. To take it just one step further, Attorney Tarby, I'd like to know if there are any other impacts to this change anyplace else, aside from where we're talking about.
Yep.
In terms of the changes.
Yeah, I think,
I don't have a red line version, I have what you've proposed here, but outside of this particular area, are we talking about impacts someplace else? So when we get to ordinance, if you could be
Yep.
prepared to answer
yeah, no,
that.
absolutely. It's only the Woburn Loop that
Yep.
that impacts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have lots of questions, if we get through ordinance with this, I'll have lots of questions about the project, but I think right now, this is what we're focused on, so, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else from the council?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to open the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak on the petition by Ram Zero Cross Street LLC to amend Section 20 of the zoning ordinance, the Woburn Loop Bikeway Greenway Overlay District, by revising sections and proposing language? Anyone here tonight would like to speak to that? Please come forward. If you could identify yourself, name and address for the clerk.
Good evening, my name's Paul Maderas. Myself, along with my wife, we own a property at 22 Arlington Street, which abuts this property. So we're here just kind of seeing what's going on, and we were a little bit concerned to see what the petitioner was doing. I guess we'll watch the process. It looks like a pretty decent project, but we were just concerned what the impact was going to be. We know that further down the road, there was a multi-story, I believe it was 5 or 6-story development that happened on Green Street. We were kind of concerned that maybe that was the same thing that was going to be proposed here. We see it is not. Very happy to see that, obviously. But, so we just wanted to see what was going on with these amendments and how it was going to affect us, as well as some of our neighbors. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Diane Yeber. I live at 3 Belmont Street. I also abut this property. I do like the plan. It looks, conservative, which is great. I do have concerns over the years. If you did any research, this area has also been a couple of different tanneries in the past. Shaw's Tannery and American Hide and Leather was located on this property, so I have concerns about environmental impacts. So I hope all the testing will be done beforehand. on this property. We don't want anything getting into the water, because there's a creek there also. Excuse me. And I'm wondering about the cross street. How does Winchester fare on the variance there for the entrance and exit there? That's my question too, if they okayed that. Because I do not want to see them use Medford Street also, no. We're already having issues with the project on Garfield Ave, wanted to use Medford Street, and that would impact our neighborhood horribly. So I would like more information on the cross street entrance and exit. Make sure that Winchester also approves that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
Hi, my name is Elaine Prine. I live at 7 Medford Street, and I'm concerned with the opening of Medford Street also. So I know in the past, there have been other businesses down there, and they did have a problem accessing the property from Cross Street. So I just want to make sure, I want to reiterate that too, because if we have to open up Medford Street, that could be really bad, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No?
Make a motion to continue the public hearing to the city council meeting on September 19th, and that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Charter, and Rules.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is CVS Pharmacy, is a petition by CVS Pharmacy, Inc. for a modification of a special permit dated April 21st, 2020, pursuant to Section 5.1, subsection 69, Section 7.3, Section 8.6.3, Section 8.7.16, Section 13.5, and Section 15 of the Woburn zoning ordinance to allow for a service establishment providing nail and salon service to occupy approximately 3,300 square feet of space formerly labeled as overstock storage area and once occupied by a full-service restaurant, and to a revised site plan at 175 Main Street. A communication dated July 31st, 2023 was received from Tina Cassidy, the planning director.
Make a motion that all communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. For the record, Joseph Tabby, Woburn Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn, here on behalf of the petitioner. So petitioner is requesting a modification to the special permit that was granted on April 21, 2020, which allowed for the change from the Walgreens pharmacy to the CVS pharmacy with a drive-through. Petitioner is requesting this modification to allow for a service establishment providing nail and salon services to occupy approximately 3,300 square feet of the space formerly labeled as the overstock storage area on the original plan. I'm going to give Brian a minute to pull that plan up.
Okay, oh, there we go.
Okay. So when we presented the CVS project back a few years ago, the area on the left was marked as the overstock storage area. Now that area at one time, if you recall, there was an Asian restaurant that operated there for a number of years with a liquor license. That eventually closed, and the space has been vacant since. And when we came in with CVS, we indicated it was our intent to use it for overstock storage, then eventually come back for use that would be compatible with the center there. The property is located in a business neighborhood zoning district, which allows the proposed salon as a matter of right. However, since the property as a shopping center is non-conforming in the BN district, and also there was a special permit granted in April of 2020, a special permit's required for the use, although it's allowed by right. So as you know, for the benefit of the new councilors, this property is occupied by CVS with a drive-through. Prior to CVS, Walgreens operated on the property from about 1989 to 2020. And going back to 1946, the property was used as retail, and then subsequently by A&P, and then Nick Barbas of Woburn also operated a supermarket at that location, and then subsequently became a Walgreens in 1989. In 2008, the council granted another special permit that allowed for the building in the back of the site for 11,220 square feet. That became the auto zone in Boozer Liquors. As indicated, these plans provide for the overstock area to become a nail salon. The services would include nails, waxing, facials, and eyelashes. There'd be 6 to 8 employees with hours of operation proposed to be Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. The planning department had submitted a comment letter that I'd like to address. The first bullet point talked about signage complying with Section 13 of the zoning ordinance, and a recommendation that gooseneck lighting fixtures be used to illuminate the sign. There's no issue with either one of those requests. And then number 2 was just a comment that the parking meets all the requirements, but in the future, if this space were to change, say, to a restaurant, the parking requirements would be greater, and they would have to figure out how the parking would take place on that site. And the third one, all construction associated with the establishment must meet all state building code requirements. There are plans that have been prepared, ready for submittal to the building commissioner. What I would like to do, if the council, after they take questions and hear from the public, I have 3 proposed conditions, actually 2, and the third one, the finding. 1 would incorporate this site plan as the plan of record for this petition. 2, we would address the hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And then third, language with the required finding that the city council, in granting the special permit, finds that the alteration of the nonconforming structure and use will not be substantially more detrimental than the existing nonconforming structure and use to the neighborhood. So I'd like to submit these proposed conditions for your consideration.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we receive the conditions as a working draft.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our presentation. We're glad to take any questions.
Any comments or questions from the council? Council Gately?
Joe, you're gonna be using, you're gonna have their own dumpster?
They're going to use the CVS dumpster in
CVS
the
dumpster,
back.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have, you can get through the front of the building, to those doors, there's also a building down the back?
No, you enter the building from the front of the building, and there's egress to the rear. Maybe, Brian, you want
That's
to point that out on the
important.
plan.
This is in the back, right?
So the entrance is the front of the building,
Yeah.
and they have egress to the rear of the building for purposes of having the second means of egress and also to utilize the dumpster area.
All the utilities that were in that building, you're gonna use again. Sewer, the water that was in that building when they had the restaurant in there, you're gonna rejuvenate those and use them again?
Yes, the intention is for no exterior utility service connections to remodel the space, and everything will be internal to the building.
This is why I'm bringing it up, because I know there's a water in there, I know there's a sewer in there, you know, and, so you don't have to open up the parking lot, you don't have to open up, Powell Street or anything else. They're already in the property, they're already at the foundation of that building, all you gotta do is find them, rejuvenate them, and use them. The water was always adequate down there, I know the building pretty good, so, you know, I think it's a good thing down there to do this. It's been nothing in there for so long after the restaurant left. There's a Chinese restaurant down there, if I remember. I think I do. I think I was in there a couple of times.
What's that?
But, yeah, it's good to see them actually doing something with that actually is a dead spot in the building. You know, they was using it for storage and stuff. That's perfect if, you know, you want to go in there and do some nails. We really don't have a good spot down there to do all this stuff, you know? So, yay, go for it. And then the CVS people, they do take care of that lot. They do, they maintain it, they sweep it, they pick it up. The backside looks pretty good. Before CVS got in there, it was a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. That fence line had more rubbish in it than the dump itself. So it looks pretty good down there now. So keep up the good work down there. Other than that, you know. This is the alderman talking. That's my ward.
All set? Any other comments or questions from the council? Council DeMambro?
Joe, just as a quick question, there's going to be no concessions inside, beverages or anything being served inside while the people are having nails done or anything else, correct?
I can't answer that, but I would imagine, client wants a cup of coffee or water. They're not going to sell.
Light refreshments, yeah. But there'll be no sale of anything or anything like that. Okay. No more questions. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
Make a motion.
Anything else, Mr. Tarby?
That's it, thanks.
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
Motion second, open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak on the petition for CVS down at 175 Main Street, nail and salon services?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to grant a special permit with the 3 conditions attached.
President
On
Concanon?
the motion,
On
Okay.
on the
the
motion,
motion, Council Demers.
if Councilor Gately would kindly withdraw his superseding motion, I'd like to make a finding and then go over the conditions, if possible.
I'd love to hear you.
Thank you.
Okay.
What
Council
you say?
Gately, you'll withdraw your motion, please?
What's the motion supposed to be?
Joe wants to,
Council Demers would like to address the findings first, please.
Joe wants to talk, so just say withdraw your motion, and you can do it.
I'll withdraw my motion. Go
Thank you.
ahead.
Council Demers.
I'll make a motion that the city council makes the following finding, that the city council in granting this special permit finds that the alteration of the non-conforming structure and use will not be more substantially detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure and use of the existing neighborhood
Could you make that also under section 7.3?
under section 7.3.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second on the finding. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion that the 2 conditions that were proposed by Counselor Tarby, including the site plan of record, and then the hours of operation be approved.
Second.
Motion second on the two conditions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to grant a special permit at 171 Main Street
175.
Second.
for the use of a, what do you want to call yourselves, nail and, what is it?
Nail and salon
Nail
services.
salon?
I'll second that.
Motion and second that we grant the special permit as conditioned with the finding. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
President Concanon, can we have a 5-minute recess?
Motion,
I'll make a motion for a 5-minute
motion
recess.
second, 5-minute recess. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is request for special permit by Chick-fil-A Inc. for a special permit to allow for the following fast food restaurant pursuant to section 5.1 subsection 29, 2, alteration of the existing non-conforming structure to allow for a new structure under section 7.3, and parking requirements to be met on a separate lot as shown on site plan pursuant to section 8.3.1 at 17 Commerce Way. The communication dated July 13th, 2023 was received from Joseph R. Tarby, the attorney for the petitioner. Further communication dated August 1st, 2023 was received from Attorney Tarby as well. And then July 31st, communication from Tina Cassidy, the planning director. And a communication dated August 2nd, 2023 was received from Greg Green, the assistant city engineer. And another communication dated August 4th, 2023 was received from John Corey, the city engineer.
We'll make a motion that all the communications be received made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Second.
Motion second on the communications. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
These all collated, Julie.
Mr. Tarby.
Okay. Yep. Okay, good evening. For the record, Joseph Tabby, Woburn and Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn, here on behalf of the applicant. So with me this evening is Joey Fonseca of Bola, Maureen Lapperton of Bowman, who's the traffic consultant, and Clint Mattson of Chick-fil-A. Before we get started, I have some documents to submit. They're all collated here. One is a response letter to the planning department, comment letter. The other is response to the comments from the city engineer. And then the last section is a copy of the PowerPoint presentation that we're
Motion to
gonna present.
accept and make a part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I also have one other document to submit for the record that was requested in the planning department comment letter, and that is a copy of the easement agreement that allows for all the funky parking over there, underneath the deck. So when you look at the parking over there, that deck
Lowe's deck.
is over to the property line of 17 Commerce Way, and then the parking we're seeking to continue to use is under the deck, as it always has been for a number of years. This was an easement that was entered into in 2000 that runs with the land. There's also easement with Citizens Bank. There's also an easement with Red Roof Inn, and on the border for all of that parking in connection with the Lowe's. So I'd like to submit that for the record. I
Motion to
just have
accept,
one
make part
copy.
of the permanent record.
Motion second on that communication. All in favor?
Aye.
Just one copy of that one. That's everything collated.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Okay, so the petitioner is seeking the following special permits. One under 5.129 to allow for a fast food restaurant at 17 Commerce Way. The second is under section 7.3 to allow for the alteration of the existing non-conforming structure. The existing side yard setback is 7.7 feet, where 25 feet is required. Now, in the planning department comment letter, there was a comment made that the property did not meet the frontage setback, and we should have requested that. That's not the case. In 1986, there was a variance granted to Bertucci's, which allowed a reduction in the front yard setback from 25 feet to 15 feet. And then the third special permit is to allow for the parking on a separate lot, separate from 17 Commerce Way, that being all the parking that's under the parking deck that has been used by Bertucci's under that easement agreement. So the property is located in the IP zoning district, which requires a special permit for a fast food restaurant. In a second, Joey's going to go through the site plan in a little more detail, but generally, the property is 1.32 acres. There's been a restaurant at that location since the 1980s, initially with Brigham's, and then subsequently Bertucci's, which closed during this past year. Proposed use is a Chick-fil-A dine-in restaurant with 78 seats inside. If the zoning ordinance is amended to allow for outdoor seating, they would seek subsequent approval for 12 outdoor seats. So, city engineers provided comments. We've responded to them. City engineers also requested peer review on the traffic, and we would request that if you're going to go forward with the peer review, that you take that vote this evening so that the city solicitor and city engineer can commence the bid process. It does take some time. You know, the last peer review for the daycare center, it took, close to a month by the time, the bids came in, the contracts were done, and the process started. So what I'd like to do at this time is to introduce Joey Fonseca of Bowler, who will review the modified site plan and address the planning board staff report.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joey Fonseca, project manager with Bowler, and I'll just kind of walk through just a brief presentation on the existing conditions that's out there. I'm sure all of you are well aware of the site, and then take you into the proposed site plan, which is really just going to focus in around where the building area is. So up on the screen now is just kind of an aerial just showing where this site is located. Property address is 17 Commerce Way. It does currently have two full movement access drives, one south of the building off of Commerce Way, and then another access drive off the access road to the north of the building, both being full movement. So the intersection at the northwest corner is a signalized intersection at that corner. And then you've got the two full movement driveways sort of flanking the building, the north and south. There is also access from the abutting parcel to the south, the Citizens Bank building, via, you can sort of see it there on the bottom of that aerial. There's an access drive that leads into that parking. The property boundaries are a little strange in through here, that thick or the thicker black line that kind of runs down the middle of the parking and then angles over. That is the existing property boundary limits. So a portion of the parking is located on site, and then there's a portion that is a larger portion that's off site. And as Mr. Tarby had stated, there are some cross-access and cross-parking agreements that are already in place. So that being said, the existing building, it's a former Bertucci's. It was about 5,800, just shy of 5,900 square foot building. and it was served via utilities along Commerce Way and the access road above. The utilities here are a little bit unknown. There's not as many records on file with respect to water line sizing, where the fire protection line comes into the building. So we're still coordinating that with DPW, with engineering too, to just get a handle on what size the existing water services are, as well as a sewer out here as well, which I can get into that later on in the presentation. But existing parking on site, there's a total of 83 spaces. 22 of those spaces are within the property boundary limits. The remaining are outside the property and underneath at the ground level of that two-story parking garage on the eastern side of the property. There's existing walkways. There's some landscaping, albeit it's a lot of it's overgrown. It has been trimmed down recently, but all that will be replanted as part of this proposal. Along with the overall parking here, there is 5 ADA spaces. They're all located along Commerce Way for accessibility reasons, which is for this amount of parking, certainly over the ADA requirement for the minimum requirement there for ADA spaces. So that will all remain in the post-development condition. There's an existing trash enclosure. It's in the sort of northeast corner of the building. It's sort of it's kind of pinched in between the access road and that parking garage. That will remain. Again, I'll get into that with the proposed conditions, but we're proposing a trash enclosure in that same location as well. That's in a nutshell, just from an existing conditions point of view, that's just kind of a high level presentation there. As Mr. Tarby had mentioned, the existing building is within the front yard setback, front and side setback here. The existing building will be demolished. A new building will fit within that existing footprint for the Chick-fil-A restaurant, and we're not encroaching any further into those setbacks as currently exist today. I'm going to switch over to just the proposed conditions, which is essentially the same screen. Just make sure this one's so in the proposed condition, as you can see, that the building is generally the same. It's in the same location. It's got a little bit different of a shape to it, and that is really just to accommodate the brick facing of your sort of standard prototypical Chick-fil-A restaurant, but it fits within the existing footprint. Again, we're no closer to the street than the existing building is today. It is 5,800 square feet, just under what the existing footprint is there today under that former Bertucci's restaurant. We are showing some improvements around the building with respect to walkways, ADA access, and then pedestrian access, as well as outdoor seating. And the plans here that were also submitted, the outdoor seating is located in the southwest corner of the building. There's about 12 seats out there for tables. And I know that will be under a separate permit application for that, but I just want to highlight that there will be outdoor seating at this location. The walkway that's along front will be reconstructed just to meet ADA accessibility. I think, currently there are some cross slopes that are excess of 2%, so it'll be regraded, reconstructed to be accessible. Really no modifications to the overall parking area, except for the transformer location, which is at the rear of the building. If you all recall the site, there was a wooden shed at the rear of the site. Oh, I can use my mouse. So this is the proposed transformer location. That location was a former wooden shed. It's been since removed off the site, but there was a wooden shed there, and the proposal. Chick-fil-A restaurant requires a pad-mounted transformer. I believe the Bertucci's had pole-mounted. So with the pad-mounted, we were sort of stuck as to where we could locate this pad-mounted transformer. That seemed to be the best location. It does remove an additional space there just due to the bollard spacing that's required for the pad-mounted. But the lot is mostly building and parking, and there wasn't really any other opportunities to put that within the property boundaries. The trash enclosure at the rear corner, again, if you all recall or are aware of the
Washington Street Chick-fil-A restaurant, it's going to be a similar trash enclosure there. It's a brick enclosure, matches the brick of the building, so it will be screened on those three sides. And on the front, it is a solid gate door in the front, similar to the other Woburn location as well. So it will be screened on all four sides. There's no fencing that's around it. I think currently there is fencing around so you can see right into it. This will be screened either by the solid doors or the brick facade along the outside of the enclosure. As previously mentioned, 78 interior seats. This is a dine-in restaurant only. There's no drive-through component with this restaurant, so it is dine-in. So 78 interior, 12 exterior. The parking requirements for this 5,800 square foot restaurant is 70. The existing parking on site accounts to be 81, so we're overparked with the existing parking that's there. The utilities on site, again, as I mentioned before, we're still coordinating that with DPW, just trying to understand where the domestic service is coming from, where the fire service is coming from. We have a handle on it, but there is going to be a little bit of coordination there that still needs to happen, and we're actively having those open conversations with DPW, the water, and the engineering department. Sewer seems to be an issue, or was an issue, with the former Bertucci's here. With this proposal, there will be an exterior grease trap. I'm not sure if there was one with the Bertucci's. Looking at the pump chamber that's located out in front of the building, that is an ejector system that pumps up to the gravity main a couple hundred feet up Commerce Way. It's full of grease. I imagine there was no grease trap, exterior grease trap at that former Bertucci. So with this proposal, along with an interior that's required per code, there'll also be an exterior grease trap that will direct all kitchen waste through there to treat it for oil, separation prior to discharging into that existing pump chamber, which then gets into the municipal sewer system. And then there's the proposed sanitary waste as well that will just tie in after the grease trap. Electric, as I mentioned before, will be fed through a pad-mounted transformer at the rear of the building, and then there's currently gas along the access road that leads up to Lowe's on the east side, and we'll be utilizing that stub location for this building purpose as well. Landscaping will be upgraded with this proposal, mostly just around the building, because there'll be excavation or demo of the existing building and then excavation for the new footing. So with the plans that you all have, does provide a proposed landscaping plan that just incorporates many shrubs, perennials, ornamental grasses, and other type of landscaping in and around the building, just to add that landscape appeal around there, which the site currently doesn't have. The parking lot landscaping, the trees along Commerce, there's no plan to adjust that. Currently, it's trees and grass, and our plan was to keep that condition that's there, really just kind of enhance the landscaping around the new building. The existing pylon sign that's located within the parking lot, I'm going to highlight it here with my mouse. There's an existing pylon sign in the parking. That will remain. It'll just be refaced with the Chick-fil-A signage on there, but that location will remain, and I believe there's already power to it, as the prior sign was backlit. That being said, just as a quick site plan, just a quick overview, just wanted to just present those conditions. If I can turn it over to Maureen with Bowman to kind of address the traffic report that was submitted to you all as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Again, my name is Maureen LePayton with Bowman. I'd like to give a brief summary of the methodology contained in our traffic impact study, as well as some of the key findings. Our study area, we coordinated with the city engineer to determine the locations to be included, and it includes It includes the Mishwam Road at I-95 ramps intersection to the bottom of the screen behind you. It included the Commerce Way at Shopping Plaza Access Road traffic signal, as well as the two existing site driveways, the one on the Shopping Plaza Access Road and one on Commerce Way. As part of the traffic impact study, we completed a site visit, we collected traffic data at the study area intersections, we reviewed crash data, we estimated new project trips in accordance with the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual, and completed a capacity analysis for the 2023 existing conditions, the future no-build conditions, which is future conditions without the project, and the future build conditions with the project. We used a 7-year future horizon in accordance with the Mass DOT traffic impact study standards for the future conditions analysis. Going back to the crash data, based on the last 5 years of available MassDOT data, all of the study area intersections were found to have crash rates below the statewide and district averages. In our traffic study, we did note the intersection of Mishwam Road at I-95 and Commerce Way. Traffic signal was previously listed as a MassDOT crash cluster location for the years 2015 through 2018, but it has since been removed and is no longer listed as a crash cluster. To determine the estimated new project trips, we reviewed the data provided in ITE. ITE is an industry standard for estimating trips for various land uses and is based on data collected throughout the country. It should be noted, as Joey noted, this location does not propose a drive-through, and therefore we used ITE Land Use Code 933, which is for fast food restaurant without drive-through. These trips were then added to the future 2030 volumes, which also took into account a background traffic growth rate of 1%, and this growth rate is for general changes to traffic volumes over time and also to account for other developments that may not yet be known at this time. Additionally, we had identified 3 other site-specific developments in the vicinity of the study area. We identified those with assistance from city staff, applied those volumes, and added them to the ITE estimated new trips and developed the future 2030 traffic volumes. Those volumes were then used to analyze the study area intersections during the weekday midday peak hour, the weekday afternoon peak hour, and the Saturday midday peak hour. And based on this analysis, we are proposing some mitigation, which would include traffic signal timing adjustments for the traffic signal on Commerce Way at the shopping plaza access road at Lowe's. The mitigation would result in improved vehicle delays during all of the peak hours analyzed, and would also better accommodate the queuing that occurs on Commerce Way during all peak hours analyzed, queuing northbound on Commerce Way. I also want to note that we did look into the estimated trips at the Bertucci's restaurant that had closed within the past year. Based on ITE, we had estimated those trips to the prior restaurant, but did not deduct those trips from our analysis to provide a conservative estimate of the future build scenario. And with that, I'll pass it back to Joey for questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. President, members of the council, that concludes our formal presentation this evening.
Okay. Comments, questions? Council Mercer Bruin.
Not sure where to start. But let's start with what the beginning of your presentation was, Attorney Tarby. This was a restaurant, and now you're proposing another restaurant. And that would seem like, well, that seems reasonable, right? It was already a restaurant, but now you're proposing another restaurant. But this isn't any restaurant.
That's correct.
Right. It is nothing like Woburn has ever seen before. And we all know this because we have one less than a half a mile away that originally we denied a drive-through, and then, you know, another council decided it was okay for a drive-through, and we saw what happened with that. So my first comment is about the drive-through. If Chick-fil-A corporate, right? It's Chick-fil-A corporate. We're not talking about the same franchise owner, I don't think, for this particular facility that's up the street.
Well, the initial petition is always Chick-fil-A corporate, and then they'll hire a manager to run the place.
But the permit will be issued to Chick-fil-A corporate.
Correct, yeah.
So Chick-fil-A corporate needs to at some point, talk to this council about a covenant on that property that says there will never be a drive-through. So that's something for you to think about. I know we're going to do some adjustments to, or a peer review study of the traffic, and I was so glad to see the comments from our city engineer and some others that, no, this is not just another restaurant. And anybody who's driven down there knows that there are many issues going on with the infrastructure, not just down there, but up on Washington Street, that it all connects. This city council approved the redevelopment of an existing mall. We were supposed to go back and look at all of the infrastructure and see how that's working before we did anything else. So I want to make sure we do that in conjunction with looking at this. Coming here and talking about mitigation for timing of lights, I have heard that for every single petition that's ever been before this council. And yet, you drive up Washington Street or drive up Mishawam Road, and nothing is ever timed. Nothing. You can't get through. So we're going to have to do better than that. I'm very skeptical about this, just because we know how popular Chick-fil-A is. So I'm trying very hard to try to keep an open mind here. But we have some issues to address, lots of them. I don't know that we're going to get there. I promise you I'll listen. But what I will not, I won't even consider supporting this ever unless there is some commitment from Chick-fil-A that there's a covenant on this property that says there will never be. And that's one of the number one things for me to even consider it. So the rest of it we'll unpack and we'll get to. We got a long way to go, but I just wanted to make sure you understood that. And I think everybody here knows what happened before, and I hope you'll support me in that request should this even move forward. Again, I also want to just comment on when we did have the problems up on Washington Street. The current owner, Mr. Rose, worked with the city and came up with a better design. And I'm so appreciative. And also I would like to point out that President Concanon was part of all those meetings we had. So I'm appreciative of what he did, because we did have a pretty big disaster on our hands. But he stepped up, and he's wonderful to the community. So this isn't about, oh, I don't like Chick-fil-A. The issue is everybody loves Chick-fil-A, so we just have to proceed with caution. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ramble on, but I am very concerned about this.
No, we appreciate your comments.
Okay.
And,
And I assume we'll be going to committee, and we're going to if it's appropriate, to make a vote right now to approve the peer review or ask the city to move forward with a traffic peer review. I will certainly make that in the form of a motion if it's appropriate now, President
Maybe we'll
Concanon.
give a chance for a couple of folks
Sure.
to comment.
Okay,
But we will
thank
get
you.
to that, yes.
I'm
Counsel-
good, thank you.
Counsel Gailey?
Hello. I was gonna, start talking about utilities and everything for your building and the old buildings, and cutting and capping, and making sure you guys knew what kind of problems we had with the old buildings down there with the sewer blockages and the oil and grease traps and everything that was going on. I don't expect to see that ever again with you people. You're gonna change all those utilities, because most of them are inadequate. 4-inch sewer line for a restaurant? Maybe in Boston, but not out here. No, it's all has to be changed, the water, feeds and everything else for the old building have to be cut off at the street or on the main assault. And the sewer out in the street, make sure you cap them all off out there. Anything you do tie into for a sewer, you gotta make sure that they have an end to it. A brick swale. The one they tied into out on Commerce Way, didn't have one of those. It was blocking up every 2 weeks. For some reason, that was passed, I don't know why. But there's been a lot on that corner with the other restaurants. And one of the biggest things there was, I know we can rectify it right now, is their snow plan, their snow plowing. They'd wait till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, take all the snow out of that parking lot and throw it on Commerce Way. I was in charge of snow and ice for the city of Woburn. We'd catch them, throwing them out there. So come up with a snow and ice plan for this building also, if it goes. A good snow and ice plan. I got a lot more to say, but I'm done for now.
Okay. Council DeMambro.
Attorney Tarby, I'm in that area pretty much daily. My concern is definitely going to be the traffic that this restaurant will generate, especially during the lunch rush hour. There's going to be people that are going to walk in there, they're going to run in there to get their bag of food, and they're going to be running out, and they're going to be trying to beat the traffic that's already existing. I've worked in that area. Everybody gets a half an hour, so time is of the essence, and everybody's in a big rush. I would make the recommendation, and I don't think mitigation on setting timing on lights is going to handle it. I would suggest the entrance to Lowe's, if you're going to maintain that, be a one-way entrance in only. I would also make the suggestion where the other entrance is, or an exit, make that probably just an entrance only, and then down closest to Citizens Bank, make that just an exit only, and add an exit only further down that parking lot so as not to jam up that intersection. Because it's been my experience, there are tractor trailers that are constantly going in and out of Lowe's. And those tractor trailers, if people try to, get into the traffic line from people exiting Lowe's as well as on the border, they're going to block that intersection. The tractor trailers, the contractors, they're going to be jammed up. That's going to fall right out into Commerce Way. That's going to be one big bottleneck. And I just see nothing but a nightmare. So I would seriously consider, adding an exit only closest to the bank, and make that entrance a one-way in only on the entrance access road to Lowe's. Because again, it's going to generate a serious amount of traffic. And I know it's going to jam up, and there's no timing that's going to fix that. As well as you got Market Basket across the street, and that's just another nightmare. Go ahead.
President, so just so I understand what you're saying, are you suggesting moving the curb cut that's right at the building off of Commerce down, slide it down towards the bank?
I would slide it closest to the bank, or keep that one where it is and add another one to the two, the southern trees, the last two trees in the parking lot, right there, President
there, yeah.
Concanon.
As an exit?
As an exit only, and just make it right turn, because that's what it is actually. It's going to have to be, because it's a one-way. But have the exit there, and this way, if there is some sort of multiple cars trying to get out of there, at least there's room, and they won't spill out onto the road and jam up the traffic. And again, there's no way that they can jam up the Lowe's entrance if it's just one way in. And there's no exit out of there onto the Lowe's access. Because again, I see that corner just jamming right up. I see them trying to get out of there, and they're going to jam that whole section up, and it's going to be gridlock. Well, that's something I think that should be seriously considered. And I agree with my colleague, Councilor Bruin. Drive through there, it's absolutely unacceptable. Thank you.
Council Campbell.
I really enjoy Chick-fil-A. And
Everybody.
I know, everybody does. And actually, I was part of the council that came on board and changed it from a negative to a positive to allow Chick-fil-A in that area up on Washington Street.
The drive-through, you mean?
Drive-through, yeah. And the manager has been just absolutely wonderful, like you said, making sure that everything worked. Because the amount of traffic that comes from that area in and out really is tremendous. And I am assuming that it might not be quite as much because it's not a drive-through, but there's going to be a lot. And I'm actually very interested in seeing the traffic study because I surely do hope they're not going to try to say there's not going to be any traffic issues in that area, because we know it's going to be. We're already struggling in that area with backup traffic. With saying that the drive-through obviously is not on the table. But as we know, and we just have been seeing this more and more, petitioners come in, they want one thing, and usually within a year, not even that long, they're coming in to alter it, trying to get a drive-through in. Other alterations which we didn't want to have in the first place, and a lot of times that's the reason why we allowed the petitioner to go through, or that building or business to go in, because there wasn't a drive-through, or there wasn't a particular aspect of the business that we didn't think was favorable. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about this area for Chick-fil-A, because I agree with Darlene, absolutely not. I don't know how we do or write up something where the property wouldn't be able to come forward in a year or whatever saying, no drive-through. You talking about a covenant, is that an actual thing?
Through the chair to Councilor
Yes.
Campbell. Yes, it is, and the council has done it before.
Okay. Because that would absolutely have to be first, before even discussing anything else. I'm just very concerned about the traffic. I really do not know how it's going to move with having a business that is this popular. I'm interested in what Councilor DeMambro said. I haven't had time to think about it, but we really have to think outside the box to see what we can do to make sure that the traffic does move. And because you put a busy restaurant, busy business in that area, it can literally shut down that whole Commerce Way. Even getting into the Woburn Mall, which is a struggle. It's not Woburn Mall, excuse me.
Village.
Yeah, Woburn Village. So I am absolutely keeping an open mind. Drive-through, I know it's not on the table, but to me, that's got to be first. We have to address that. Yeah, so let's see where it goes.
Okay. Council Ferrullo.
Joe, not to be redundant on everything, but the lighting doesn't cause the traffic on Commerce Way. Demoulas causes the traffic on Commerce Way because of the pedestrian flow, and that sometimes no cars make the left, and just if they go out there to look at it again, either A, I'll go with them and show them, because I lived up there for 38 years as a cop, but it's not the lights that cause the problem. It's Demoulas crossing the street, particularly at that intersection. And there's days that I've called Darlene laughing, parked way back by the new Dunkin' Donuts, that the cars just don't move because everybody's trying to get to.
I'm not laughing.
No, but you know what I'm saying. I mean,
I know.
so whatever I can do to help, I'm here to help. But it's not just the light flow on Commerce Way. It's that left turn going north on Commerce into Demoulas that people are crossing. And sometimes they take the left. They can't go anywhere because the people are crossing. And that blocks the southbound Commerce Way and brings the whole grid to a stop, and I don't have an answer. I just want to point that out as somebody that wrote about 700 tickets up there in my day.
Yep, no, appreciate that.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Councilor Dillon?
Just one quick one. I would imagine Chick-fil-A is like many of the other fast food restaurants. When they have a business model, they have a particular restaurant they build all of them the same, whether it be in Chicago or Woburn, Massachusetts. So my question here is there, when they build them, do they build one that's strictly for walk-in and one that's built strictly for walk-in and drive-up? And as of when we walked into this chambers today, which plan did we have in mind for here?
Yeah, Clint, do you want to address that? Did you get the question?
I did.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Clint Mattson with Chick-fil-A. So we do have a prototype that we use across the country for our drive-through restaurants, but this is a custom restaurant. We are trying to fit it within an existing footprint, so it will be customized for a walk-in and dine-in only.
And no modifications for a future drive-up at all?
That's correct.
Okay, because I do agree with my other councilors that had the concerns. Certainly a drive-up would just not work in that particular area.
We agree.
Thank you.
Councilor Marissa Braun?
So, thank you so much for clarifying that. So, assuming that, my earlier request for the covenant on the property to agree not to ever have a drive-through there, I would imagine that is on the table and something that you guys will consider, based on what I just heard.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Anything else?
Motion
Darby?
on public hearing.
I'm good, thanks.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak to this special permit petition from Chick-fil-A at 17 Commerce Way?
Make a motion that the council approve moving forward with a traffic peer review.
Second.
Can you,
I'm sorry.
may I?
Madam Clerk.
Could you just authorize the city council president to sign on the council's behalf too?
I make a motion to authorize the city council president to move forward with the traffic peer review as it relates to the Chick-fil-A and sign on behalf.
Everyone, is there a second? on that?
Second.
Everyone understand that? Mm-hmm. That's appropriate, Madam Clerk?
Yep.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Also make a motion that we continue the public hearing
October 3rd.
to October,
3rd.
Third.
it's October,
October 3rd is the first meeting, October,
17.
17.
thank you.
17.
October 17th is the second meeting.
okay. I'm just not sure we'll have the peer review back by then, but that's okay. We can always continue. So
We could do
at
October
the
3rd.
pleasure of the president, how about that?
We can put it on for October 3rd and then see where we stand.
Okay.
So
Second.
there's a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, what's the motion?
Madam Clerk?
It's got to also be referred to special permits as well.
There's a motion, as I understand it, there's a motion and second that the public hearing be continued to the October 3rd meeting and that the matter be referred to the Committee on Special Permits. Is that the motion?
Sure.
That's the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'd also like to make a motion that we send a communication to Superintendent Duran, let him know what our special permit schedule is, so he's aware, because he's going to need to review these plans quite closely. I just want him to be aware of what our schedule is, so we can all try to work together.
Second.
Motion second on a communication to the DPW Superintendent. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Next item on the agenda is the petition by New England Laboratory Casework for special permit to allow for the following: overnight parking of 3 box trucks under section 5.157B, And also plan review under section 7.3 and section 12.2.4 to allow for a two-story addition on an existing building to use for light manufacturing, storage, and office, as well as additional site modifications at 1 Arrow Drive. A committee report was received from the Committee on Special Permits, was received back for action. Further communication dated July 27, 2023 was received from Tina Cassidy, the Planning Director. Those communications.
Make a motion that all communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and second on communications. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Tarver.
Okay, for the record, Joseph Tabby, Woburn and Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive, here on behalf of the petitioner. So as you know, this matter was in committee, sent out for action. The planning department communication, we did receive after that meeting, and I'd like to point out, there were, I believe, two comments here. Okay, so the first comment indicated that the commercial vehicles will be box trucked and where they'll be parked. What I'd like to do, if I can, just submit, one, a revised set of conditions for your consideration, and two, we took the planning department comment letter and made one revision to the plan on sheet C3, which shows one-way and two-way circulation on the site. There was a note about one area being 21 feet in width, not 24 feet, and, you know, that may not be appropriate for two-way traffic. We haven't had a problem with that, but we have revised the plan to indicate that. So if I could submit these for the record.
Motion to accept, make
Motion
part of the
accepted,
permanent
make
record.
part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, here you go, right there.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
What is it?
I'll look on with that.
Let's hear.
There you go.
Sorry, I was trying to
Okay.
action.
Just one housekeeping item. We did submit the letter to the city clerk withdrawing the request for the addition. We spoke about that at the committee meeting. So the special permit would only seek the site modifications that we reviewed at the last meeting. So when I go to the planning department comments, there is a comment that staff recommends the council require the petition to identify which 3 docks will be used for the overnight parking. Well, the plan, as you can see on the plan, we already have those spaces identified. And if you look at the plan up on the screen, there's that green area that comes down there. Those are the spaces right there for the box trucks, which are 26 feet in length. And the spaces shown there are 45 feet in length, so there's sufficient room for for the 3 box trucks. And just to, run down the list again, there was a new monument entrance sign, new sidewalk along the building, new flagpole, putting the loading docks, 2 loading docks back on the left side of the building, dumpster pad and access platform next to the dumpster, 2 EV charging stations, outdoor pergola above the existing patio area, and roof-mounted solar panels. So at the committee meeting, we did express a concern about lack of Saturday hours, and have proposed Saturday hours of 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. There is work that's going to be done, such as replacing all of the windows, and other work that has to be done when the tenants are not there. So we're asking for a little leeway with those hours. And, the applicant, projects it will take, 12 to 16 Saturdays maybe to do that work. So it won't be an ongoing issue, so.
Comments? Councilor Mercer Bruin.
Just wanted to let the city council know, I spoke to Attorney Tarby about the Saturday hours. I did reach out to some of the neighbors to let them know the consideration being given to that, because we're talking about windows, and obviously people can't be in the buildings, and I didn't get any follow-up concerns about it. So I'm certainly, and I think this will probably speed up the work. So I have, as I told you, Attorney Tarby, on the phone, I don't take any exception to it, and I just wanted to make sure the council knew as well. And again, more importantly, it didn't appear that the neighbors did either. So I'm happy with the conditions as they are. I'm very pleased with the noise mitigation plan that you attached, and you'll continue to work with the neighbors. And I'm sorry that you decided not to move forward with your addition, but it sounds like there were some other reasons for that, and you may have more room in the building soon. So either way, I appreciate all your time that you've spent with us and to get this right.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gately.
Are we going to address the noise mitigation too, Joe?
I'm sorry?
The 3rd page?
C3?
Yeah,
Oh, are you talking about the conditions?
yeah. Your noise the mitigation for your noise.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's noted in condition 7.
All right. So you all set with all those? You all set with all these?
Yeah, well, number 7 pulls in the noise mitigation plan.
Oh, but it's right here, number 7 says it's part of it.
Oh.
This number 7 on page 1 says this is
Okay, you just got the plan attached, all right. So you're gonna, these conditions you're going by, everything's all set with these?
Yes.
Okay. You're not gonna put the addition on, you're gonna do a lot of work around the building. I think it's, I think you're doing a monumental job down there. It's gonna be a nice building. Plenty of loading docks. I think you do well down there. I'm not against this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councilor DeMambro.
I just have one question. Joe, on those loading docks, I see where the parking spaces are for the short box trucks, the straight jobs. For a trailer truck that's, say, 75, 80 feet long, you got enough room there where the loading docks are so he can back straight in with the nose sticking right out, and we'll be able to get Tower 1, God forbid, if there's ever an emergency, we can get Tower 1 around that building without having to move that truck?
Sure, Matthew Teal, New England Lab. Yeah, we have 75-foot trucks that park all the way at the last dock on the left, and there's still room to get another trailer truck around that truck when it's parked there.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay.
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
Motion second, open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak to petition from New England Labs, One Arrow Drive? Seeing
Make a
no.
motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. President, I'd
President
like,
Kilcannon,
Council, Madam Clerk.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but since the August 15th letter seeks to request a leave to withdraw without prejudice.
Regarding the building
Correct,
addition.
could you vote on that first before you do anything with the overall
Council
special permit?
Demers.
I'll make a motion that we allow for the withdrawal of prejudice of the previous application, including the addition.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a
Finding.
motion for a finding in accordance with Section 7.3. The City Council finds that the proposed use by the petitioner is consistent with the past use of the property and is not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use to the neighborhood.
Second.
That finding.
Second.
Motion second on the finding, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
I'd also like to propose that we codify the, or approve the conditions as presented this evening as revised August 15th, 2023.
Second.
Motion on these conditions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to grant the special permit.
Second.
Motion second to grant this special permit request with these conditions and the finding, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
And
Good luck.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe, good luck.
Thank you.
Joe, you've done good down here tonight.
Okay.
You wish you could do this all the time.
Next item on the agenda is 288 Mish Road LLC, care of Tim Casey, for a special permit under Section 7.3 of the Woburn zoning ordinance to allow for the renovation of an existing non-conforming building and reconfiguration of the rear parking area at 288 Mishawaka Road. A communication dated August 10th, 2023 was received from Attorney Joseph R. Tabi requesting that this be continued to the September 19th meeting.
Make a motion that all communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second on the communications, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that the public hearing be open.
Second.
Motion second, to open the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak on the petition?
Yep, Joseph Tabby, attorney for the petitioner. We're still waiting for comments from the peer reviewer, that's why we've requested the continuance.
Understood? Is there anyone else here?
Make a motion to continue the public hearing to the regular meeting of the City Council on September 19th.
Motion is second that the public hearing be continued to the regular meeting of the City Council on September 19th. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is under committee reports, an order amending Woburn Municipal Code Section 2-59 and Section 2-68 regarding the new position of Deputy Chief of Police. A committee report was received, ought to pass.
Make a motion that the committee report be adopted.
Second.
Motion second that the committee report be adopted. All in favor?
Aye.
On the order amending Woburn Municipal Code Section 2-180 base salaries and Section 2-190 sick leave, attendance records, vacation, and other incentives regarding new position of Deputy Chief of Police, a committee report was received, ought to pass.
Make a motion that the committee report be adopted.
Second.
Motion second, committee report be adopted. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is, we did that one, parking clerk report for June 2023.
Make a motion that the matter be received and placed on file.
Second.
Motion second that this matter be received and placed on file. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is the parking clerk report for July 2023.
Same action.
Same motion.
Second.
Same motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is under motions, orders, and resolutions, is the order calling the municipal preliminary election on September 5th, 2023.
Make a motion the order be adopted.
Second.
Motion second that this order be adopted. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is the order canceling the September 5th, 2023 meeting due to the municipal preliminary election.
Make a motion that the order be adopted.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is an order amending Woburn Municipal Code Title 12 Streets, Sidewalks, and Public Places by adding Article 16, Grant of Location Permits.
Make a motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Charter, and Rules.
Second.
Second.
Motion second that this matter be sent to ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is the order amending Woburn Municipal Code Section 2-5 to include an exemption for school crossing guards.
Make a motion that the order be sent to the Committee on Ordinance.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is an order to lay out Tower Park Drive as a public way. A communication dated August 9th, 2023 was received from Attorney Tabi regarding petition for acceptance of public way, Tower Park Drive.
Make a motion to adopt the order.
Can't,
Not to adopt.
That'd be me.
you can't adopt the order.
Motion second that the
That the commi-
Council demurs.
Make a motion that the communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Infrastructure and Public Lands.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
There's a motion second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned at 9:20. Thank you.
Good job.